If you think Donald Trump seriously damaged India-US relations, well, Donald Trump has caused far greater damage to US-NATO relations and US-Europe relations. Trump's stubborn insistence on taking over Greenland is now taking a very ugly turn. Recently, Donald Trump made his most aggressive statement so far, saying, "We are going to do it the hard way. Either the people of Greenland will agree, Denmark will quietly hand Greenland over to the USA, and the USA will take control of Greenland peacefully. If that doesn't happen, then the US will start military action. They will invade and capture Greenland by force." In response to this, Denmark has issued just one statement. Denmark's military has standing instructions: shoot first, ask questions later. If you see American soldiers anywhere in Greenland, shoot first, then ask what they were doing there. Now, I want to first show you Trump's clip.
Right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay? I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way.
This is a huge statement. He says he'd prefer a deal, but discussions are also happening around Greenland itself. Let me show Greenland on the map. Here you can see Greenland on the world map. Greenland is the largest island in the world. This is very important to note. On the world map, Greenland looks massive, but in reality, it's not as large as it appears. You should know that on the commonly used world maps, countries near the equator look smaller, and the farther you go from the equator, the bigger they appear. If I click here and show Greenland's actual size, this is the real size of Greenland. But when you look at the world map, it feels like Greenland is this enormous landmass. Now think about it. Greenland is mostly covered in ice. There's almost no agriculture, no major rivers, and there's a lot of volcanic activity. The population is only around 57,000 people. Not even 60,000 people live in Greenland. But still, Donald Trump wants to take over. The entire world recognizes Greenland as part of Denmark. It is part of the Kingdom of Denmark. Trump's plan is this. Ideally, he wants to settle this through negotiation by paying every Greenland citizen a large amount of money. The figure being discussed is around $100,000 per person. There are around 57,000 citizens. These numbers aren't exact. But if you look into history, the United States already tried to purchase Greenland in 1946 even. A formal offer was of $100 million was made to Denmark, which Denmark rejected. Adjusted for inflation, that amount today would be about $1.7 billion. And realistically, the actual amount today would be far higher, because this isn't just about Greenland's GDP or population, it's about critical minerals and energy resources. Many studies estimate Greenland's total energy resources alone at $4.4 trillion, which is around Japan's GDP. But extracting those resources would also cost the US billions of dollars. So Greenland wouldn't sell for trillions of dollars. If the deal happens, it would be in billions. Some estimates say Greenland's true value could be around $2.7 trillion, which I honestly don't think Trump would ever pay. Trump would probably say, why bother with NATO? Why not just attack Greenland and take it? From his perspective, the military cost would likely be under $1 billion. The US military could easily capture Greenland, and realistically, the world wouldn't be able to do much about it. There would be discussions. France, Germany, and the US would sit together. The US would assure Denmark that its people would retain privileged access to Greenland and old relations would be maintained. But the energy resources would be under US control. Now comes the real question. Denmark is a NATO country. The USA is also a NATO country. Denmark's Prime Minister has stated that if the US invades and captures Greenland, it would mean the end of NATO. Is that possible? I don't think so. NATO is extremely important. It was formed in 1948 and has expanded massively since then. Over the years, there have been many disputes between NATO members, even direct confrontations. For example, in 1956, France and the UK clashed with the US over the Suez Crisis. Between 1958 and 1976, the US, UK, and Iceland fought over fishing rights. In 1974, Greece and Turkey stood face-to-face militarily over Cyprus. In 2003, Europe was deeply divided over the invasion of Iraq, because US wanted NATO countries to attack Iraq after attacking Afghanistan, but NATO countries didn't agree. So Trump's stance right now is very clear. He says he doesn't want to discuss money right now. His preference is to take Greenland by military force, then explain to the UK, Germany, France, and other European countries that if the US hadn't done this, Russia or China would have taken Greenland.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor.
Now again, the problem is, European countries don't seem convinced. Russia has not said anything about attacking Greenland. China hasn't discussed overtaking it either. There's no massive Chinese presence in Greenland suggesting a takeover. Still, it is interesting that Trump is likely to push a narrative similar to World War II, when the US protected Greenland from Nazi Germany and the USSR. This time he'll say the US is taking Greenland permanently to stop Western enemies. Now, what about other countries' stance? Honestly, Denmark's MPs recently said they hope India will support Denmark against Trump's Greenland threats. But India hasn't given any strong or clear statement. India's position is very vague right now. But India has its own problems. They have too much on their plate. They're negotiating trade deals with Trump, and he's talking about imposing 500% tariffs. If India gets hit with those tariffs, will they really step up for Greenland? That depends on many things. Like, what does France do? Does France ask India to join a diplomatic front against the US? Will India support France? Only time will tell. For now, India has no concrete position.